Okay, I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mary Kudowski,
Here.
Allison Williams,
Here.
Mike Skippington,
Here.
Corey Campbell,
Here.
and Gary Paul.
Okay, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember our men and women in uniform throughout the world. I need a motion on the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second on the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, action on the minutes from the regular meeting of February 4th, 2020.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Is there any public that would like to talk to items not on the agenda? Okay, moving on. Action items. A, action regarding a requested 3-lot certified survey map for parcel VA-L202 at intersection of Sand Acres Drive and Grant Street. Aaron.
Okay, the requested certified survey map is actually a resubmittal of one that was approved by the Plan Commission over a year ago. This is the requested 3-lot certified survey map. It ties in with the floodplain amendment that you reviewed last month. That process took a lot longer than anticipated, which is why the CSM had to be resubmitted a year later. So nothing has changed from the previous CSM except for the lines for the floodplain, or flood fringe and floodway have been revised to match what was approved by FEMA, the DNR, and the village to the floodplain map amendment. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Steve Beta of Mountain Associates is also in the audience if you have any questions for him.
Okay. Didn't we just have this flood map at another meeting?
We did. It was approved at Plan Commission last month and Village Board.
Okay. Any questions?
For curiosity's sake, was the flood plan decreased or increased?
It actually was decreased. It really refined it back in many areas. And there were a few properties that are actually taken out of floodplain completely, so it's to the benefit of the property owners.
And the property owner is going to use it for development then?
That's my understanding.
Okay, all right. If no other questions, I'll move to approve.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 3-lot CSM for parcel VA-L202 with staff conditions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. B, action regarding the final plat at Alden Station, parcels VA-162 and VA-174-1.
This is the former Schneider trucking site on the Fox River. The village does maintain ownership of that, is working with Purdue Homes to develop it as a owner-occupied residential subdivision consisting of owner-occupied 2-unit buildings, owner-occupied townhomes, and owner-occupied condominium buildings. If you've driven past there, you've probably seen a lot of dirt being moved. Pretty excited. It's been a good year for construction, so things are moving along really well. The preliminary plat was approved late last year. This is, of course, the final plat to formalize the land division, dividing the properties up into the buildable lots for the development. There were a few technical conditions of approval, nothing major. The one item that will probably come back to you at some point will be the revision to the flood fringe and floodway for this area. Some of the area was identified as floodplain. That we're going through a letter of map amendment based on fill process with the letter of map revision based on fill with FEMA right now through McMahon and Associates, our consultant on the project. So we'll come through with a zoning map amendment in the future for this property for floodplain as well. Otherwise, as identified by the bullet points on there, just rather technical, kind of typo type conditions of approval.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I think it's a great project, and I just want to make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the final plat of Alden Station with staff conditions. Would you add to your motion?
With the conditions that, as noted.
Okay. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, C, action regarding requested site plan review for the Element Building Number 3, parcel VA-460-P-113. Aaron?
Okay, this is for, as President Kardusky noted, Element Building Number 3. Element Building Number 3 will be located immediately north of Element Building Number 2, which is currently under construction. If you can picture Building Number 1 that fronts on Marvell Lane, continue north up Element Way, or New Element Way, past Building Number 2. Building Number 3 will be located immediately north of Building Number 2. The exterior elevations are very similar to Building Number 2, and that's a four-story building with 68 units. Brick first floor, some cultured stone near the entrances, with a composite lap siding consistent with the PUD as was approved for the project. It does include underground parking as well as parking underneath the on-site parking. That will be supportive enough, sufficient to hold our public safety vehicles. So we've addressed that. A couple recommended conditions of approval include verifying with engineering the sidewalk in front of building number 2 and leading up to building number 3, including the driveway opening, will be installed as part of building number 3 construction. There's a note that 6-inch water and 8-inch sewer laterals were installed to the right-of-way in 2019, so those are already in place. In terms of stormwater, verify ST number 1 is the manhole that was installed in July 2019. From public safety, ensure the fire lanes are structurally designed to handle the load requirements of fire apparatus, what I mentioned earlier. Ensure the turn radius and fire lane and parking lot is adequate for fire apparatus. So again, it's basically basic turning maneuvers there. And ensure all portions of the building are within 300 feet of at least 2 fire hydrants. Private hydrants may need to be installed. So again, that's verifying a 300-foot laydown area for fire hose. One additional condition of approval is to include a bicycle rack close to the primary entrance, as we do expect there will be a number of bicyclists that will be living here. Village Forester Tim Bachnick wanted to mention that the landscape, he was impressed with the landscape plan with a very good species selection, so he was happy to see that. The applicant is in the audience. If you have any questions for him, otherwise I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
It was brought to the site plan this afternoon. Site plan had no problems with it. It's kind of a match to the building 1, building 2. If there is no questions, I'll move to approve the project as presented with the staff comments.
I will
Can-
second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the submitted site plan with staff conditions. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, D, action regarding ordinance 03-1-20, amending the Resch Expo Planned Unit Development PUD ordinance for signage, parcels VA-41-6 and VA-41-7.
As part of the original PUD for the Resch, now named Resch Expo, there were a couple items that just weren't really known at the time adequately enough to put them forth in the PUD. So it was known that a PUD amendment would be coming forward at some point in the future regarding signage. And we're at a point now where the architects and Myron as contractor in the project are ready with the signage. The naming rights have been announced. Many thanks to the Resch family for the naming rights, as depicted up on the board. There are a few signs I just want to touch on. There will be one two-sided monument sign. They'll be located on Oneida Street. There'll be a second monument sign, L-shaped, actually, near the corner of Armed Forces and South Oneida. There'll also then be a number of wall signs with Resch Expo on them, as depicted in the packet on the different elevations. The elevation you see on screen right there is Lombardi Avenue. And then on Armed Forces and South Oneida Street, there are actually two wall signs, both depicting Resch Expo, as noted on the screen. The Adidas that you see there, they're not a sponsor. That's just an example of what you can expect the signage to look like. So it's a question of camp at site plan and duly noted. And then, Terry, if you'd scroll down a little bit further. So right here, so there will be, it's a requested, it's called media mesh. What that is, it's a digital signage that would be located on Oneida Street, close, it's kind of running towards the Lombardi Avenue frontage. So this is actually front on Oneida Street. As you can see there, the media mesh is almost a transparent, where it's, if you're up close to it, you can see through it. From a distance, it looks opaque. That'd be used for rotating upcoming events, concerts, sporting events, so on and so forth, RV and camping show for the Expo Center. If you keep rotating or keep going down, if you see the pink arrow there, that's actually pointing to an electronic message center to be located on the far east end of the Expo Center up against the Resch Center. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, there we go. So there's a rendering of the proposed electronic message center that's requested to be located, again, next to the Resch Center. The electronic message center would be used for advertising for events at the Resch Center and at the Expo Center. So we're rotating minimum 5 seconds. The electronic message center would have an auto dimmable feature based upon ambient light conditions. So it would be dark, would be dimmer at nighttime, brighter during the day. There's a limitation in the PUD based upon foot candles of lighting that it can't exceed on property lines or right of way. So the electronic message center would then also be used to for video purposes for the Resch Center 1 hour before, during, and then 1 hour after events. So whether it's gamblers games or maybe at some point Packers in the Super Bowl, they have a viewing party in that plaza area that would be used for that type of event. Similar to what the Bucks have for Pfizer Forum as well in that Bucks district. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have regarding the requested signage PUD amendment. As Allison's here as well. She's been very closely involved in the expo as well.
Aaron, Corey had a question about the signage on Armed Forces in Oneida that right now says Brown County Veterans.
Oh, the one that's on,
No, not that one.
On Oneida, my concern is just to make sure that the veterans also have, are recognized in the signage. I know that was, when I was on the county board,
Yes.
that was one of the edicts that we had for the Ed and Rec Committee in the RFPs that we, a matter of fact, when I was on Ed and Rec, that was one of the things that we dictated. And I think that hasn't come out as much, maybe in the news. And it's wonderful that the Rushes have contributed to this. It's a fantastic contribution, and I know that we appreciate it as a community. But I'd also think that, we have to make sure that our veterans are recognized as well, and that is part of the entire proposal. So I don't know if there's exterior signage that also recognizes the veterans by the Veterans Plaza, or if it's going to say the is it the Resch Expo at Brown County?
Going to continue to be the Brown County Veterans Memorial Complex.
Okay.
And so it'll be the Resch Center and the Resch Expo at
Yep.
Brown County Memorial. And then there's an existing sign by the Veterans Memorial Complex, and you kind of can see it in there, a very long one, right there.
Yeah, that's what that
was
was the one that I was concerned about. I want to make sure that that's still,
will continue to exist. I think they're doing some refinement to it. Might actually be
a little bit bigger?
redid. Yeah, they want to make
Okay.
sure like people don't set things on top of that
Right.
and
Okay.
whatnot.
and that's no disservice to the other, it's a wonderful contribution, and our community really is thankful for the contribution, but I do think that we also need to recognize, and I know that when I was on Brown County, that was one of the things that I specified when I was on Ed and Rec, that the RFP to include any architectural elements that would also have notice of the veterans. And I think the veterans would want to, who've contributed to that plaza would want to be recognized as well. So I'm glad that you're doing that. I think that's a great thing for our community, that tie-in is still there. It's a foundation of our, that whole area with Armed Forces Drive. And I just wanted to make sure that, I know interior, they are also doing something as well, correct?
Yes, there will be a kind of a feature wall displaying local veterans stories, video wall, as well as like static images
Yeah.
and wording as well on
Yeah.
the main wall when you walk into the expo hall.
Yep. That's all I was concerned about, because I don't think that has come out as much in the news, and people are questioning it. So I just want to make sure that people know that we are retaining the identity of that plaza and the area as veterans. They should always be recognized first and foremost, and we really do appreciate not only their contributions, but the contributions of the Rushes as well for what they've done.
I've had several meetings with the veterans group and always assured them that we would always keep them in the forefront, so.
Okay.
On the back side of that ground mount sign there that says Veterans Memorial, on the back side of it, there's a bunch of plaques that the larger donors have their name and logo on. The grounds itself, as you can see in red, are the bricks that people buy, but that's just the individuals, so that is
Great.
another thing you don't want to get rid of for the people that have given more than
yeah.
$100 for a brick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm really glad that you've maintained that, and I think it's really important that we have, so, thank you.
You are classifying this is because a couple of months ago, we had the billboard on top of the building. This thing is not classified as a billboard. It's a,
Right. What we're looking at here is really in terms of context is the big issue there, where those electronic message centers, which is what they were on that office building, were right next to a residential apartment building. And again, in that context, that just didn't work. It wasn't the right place or location for those. In this case, what you're seeing here is kind of the sports entertainment area. It makes more sense. There aren't residential components that are going to be affected by this. And what we're looking at is longer term, reevaluating our sign ordinance in this whole area, the sports entertainment district, and seeing if there's ways that we should be incorporating new technologies such as electronic message centers.
Mike, I brought that up at the site plan meeting. As you know, we had a lot of conversations on these large LED signs, speaking of a building down that is being built on the river. My problem was, and I know I'm getting it from the people that I know, is the idea of being a viewed TV screen, which is by ordinance not legal, but they answered my questions in saying because of a PUD and where it's located, it does fit there. I hope we don't get any questions on it, but that's the explanation I got on it. If there's no other questions, I'll move to approve I don't have it up in front, here we go. The ordinance 03-1-20 for the Rush Center Expo Plan Union Development.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of ordinance 03-1-20 to the Ashwaubenon Village Board. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, items for next agenda. If you have anything you'd like to see on the agenda?
I do. I was at a meeting last night on sex offender residency in Brown County. I know that we redid the zoning matrix here, and I would like for next meeting to have a report on any facilities that would be in our community and where they would be allowed, if we could.
Oh, sex offender?
Sex offender release.
Okay,
Second one is the 7th and
yep, that's the one that's, I just saw it,
Oh, it's on the election night?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll just meet, well, otherwise we're going to meet in A.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Do you want to wait until the next one?
Yeah, let's wait till the next one. Yeah.
Okay.
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 You're talking about the 7th is the election?
Yeah,
Yes.
election night, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, we'll put that one off on
Okay.
the May meeting. Okay,
Thanks.
nothing else? We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.